Hey, thanks for tuning in. This is the weekend review for April 11th, 2021. We're going to start off by going and taking a look at the S&P 500 from a weekly close, all-time highs. PPO curling back up, actually just had a bullish cross. A bit extended from the 5, and this gap up here is rather interesting to me, but we're at all-time highs. We're marching higher. How much higher? I don't really know. We'll have to see. I mean, the last little thing we have is probably right there. I mean, it's tough. You could look at some symmetry, something like that. Expect that same thing to the upside. So maybe something like that. Maybe we're going to 526. And that's the symmetry of this move. I don't really know. I'm not shorting it. I'm not getting in front of this. I'm long. I'm going to stay long until we can close consistently below the 20-period moving average. It's that simple. At this point, the bears can't even get below the 10. The daily chart, it does make it hard to be a buyer up here. Some people looking at this as some ending diagonal. Well, maybe, but we've bounced above. So I'm looking at this as some 5-wave move. And we're looking for price to come up to 425. That's my target right now. Everyone else was talking about 410. Well, we hit that within 5 sessions of cracking 400. The PPO divergence is gone. I would expect this PPO to head all the way back up to at least 172, if not higher. This little bearish divergence has been going on since June of 2020. So let's see if the bulls want to trap the shorts and run away with this and really put the pedal to the metal and get some momentum again, because we did go back to negative. The PPO did go negative, which is a requirement. Let's move on over to the only other two sectors that I look at right now, Xle and Xlf. I'm not really looking to touch this right now. I think energy is dead for the time being. PPO is reset, which is interesting, but I mean, we basically had a massive move starting in November, ended probably March, and there should be some retrace. At this point, the higher low is 38.94. They could meander around all the way down to 42, fill some gaps, and it'd be perfectly healthy. So that being the case, and the fact that we're below the 50 is enough for me to say I'm not touching energy this week. XLF, all-time highs. This, very interesting. PPO did cross. We talked about this last week. Very, very tight range. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have a 5-wave move count here. I am still looking for lower prices. If they close above 35.29 for 2 sessions, well, you know, this short setup is wrong. You just have to go with the trend. It's obviously up. This will go a lot longer than most think. I showed you SPY, right? We're above this level. As long as we stay above this level, we're long. This is a massive cup and handle, and we could see something, you know, symmetrical in the sense that we just get another one of those. You want a price target? Somewhere up here, $56. How long will it take? 10 months, maybe less. But this is breakout mode. There is this. They could trend this the rest of the year. The rest of the year, they could stay above the 10 and the 20 and just continue to trend. This is not a sector I'm looking to short. In terms of how to play it from here, well, if you're long, you sit and do nothing. If you want to buy dips, I'd look to see if they can fill this gap from last week at 34.47. That would be my first stab at an entry in the XLF. I do like XLF. I do like QQQ. Those are the two strongest sectors that I'm watching right now. I am still very long QQQ, TQQQ. I do think this is a running flat that we have here. I do think this is a little zigzag down, counter trend move, another zigzag down. So A, B, C. That completes the pattern. Now you've seen an absolute takeoff in PPO. I mean, you haven't had a red day since March 24th. We're talking about 2 weeks now. That being the case, one thing I want to point out is very interesting to me is that no matter how far you go back, value or this POC, this orange line, is 315. So you go back to the March lows, value 315. You go back to the February 2020 highs, value 315. You go back all the way back to 2019, value 315. So the value is looking at this large shelf that gets created, this volume shelf. And if this is a launching pad, I don't see why we can't just keep going in some 5-wave pattern here. And really what that would mean is something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could go way higher. I don't see it going much higher than 360, 367. I do have an alert set at this trend line. I do think this is a strong sell. Look for a pullback. That's your last chance to buy this. This blue line will pull back to the red line. It's common for that to happen. Even right here it happened as you're testing the 20 and the 10 in trend mode. Right, here's trend mode. I think we've initiated a trend mode part of the phase, a wave 3, where we're just going to trend up on EMA 5, SMA 10 for the next couple of weeks. It's entirely possible that the Qs just rip to all-time highs and don't pull back again for a few months or at least a few weeks. At minimum, just sideways action as they flag up here. So I'm holding on to the Qs. I'm buying more. I will buy more at the 10. I will buy more at some of these gap fills. I did sell 50% at this gap fill up here. Made 25% in about a month. That's how I like to start off the quarter and the month. So it makes it hard for me to lose at this point. Now I can let the remaining 50% go, and we'll see how that plays out. Now, some of the stocks that I'm looking at this week, I really like Riot. I like Bitcoin. Coinbase IPOs this Wednesday. They might do some trickery here, at least head up to this 31% from basically close by Wednesday. If they really wanted to goose this market, they could also dip lower into Wednesday and then have some type of final wave 5 higher. This is a triangle, no doubt about it. I love this triangle. I love this pattern. PPO is almost back at the 0 line. We can wait for the blue line to curl up, and that would give us the higher probability entry from option players. That's probably what you're looking to do. I'm just looking to watch the daily and hourly charts as we dip into this blue trend line, and we'll see what happens. Even though we're below the 50, I'm not concerned too much because all the shorter term moving averages are really just going sideways. And this is a consolidation pattern. This is a textbook Elliott wave pattern. And it looks like we're about done. So I would expect this Coinbase IPO to have some impact on the crypto space and Riot to move in unison with that. So this is a top watch for me this week. Another one that I'm looking at is GDX. GDX captured the 100 on the daily, which is very interesting, and captured the 20 on the weekly. So what has been essentially supply going back to November, this SMA 20 here, the bears ripped through it, and it's been a problem ever since. Well, we captured it. And more importantly, the PPO is curling up and went negative. So now we're curling back up. This is the look you want to see. Back here in November, that was a trap. PPO was nowhere near in the position it needed to be for you to be a buyer. Here, this capture with this look has me very, very interested this week. You might get some sellers again on the first touch here. But I think any dip into $34 is likely a dip for buying this week in GDX. And you certainly could look at this like as a little coil setting up your 5-wave move higher. So one of these bad boys. So 1, 2, put your 3-wave up here. Something like this. And if she breaks out of this falling wedge, it makes the profit targets for this setup very, very simple. In that order, right? I was a buyer back here at this retest of the 100. I really like this chart. There's no other way to say it. I like gold a lot right now. I don't know, if it's time yet. It's always possible that we just come up here and do another one of these numbers, right? That being said, my gut is telling me to keep an eye on gold this week. And the final stock and sector that we'll look at here is the MJ space. CGC broke this key 2804 level this week and reversed. We did not find a lot of sellers or a lot of buyers. The volume was pretty muted. PPO is still very bearish. It's interesting to try to count this pattern. One thing I do notice is we have this little ABC up on both charts. So I would certainly start looking at that as our pivot. From a zigzag standpoint, it starts to get, kind of kludgy. You'd want something way down here for it to be a zigzag. That being said, it certainly is an A, B, C, no matter how you want to look at it. And we just had another one. And what I really like about this most recent one is the symmetry in price. So normally what you want to find with these ABC patterns is symmetry between the A and the C. And in this particular instance, it's 8 bars. Actually 7 bars if you want to count from there. And a 16% decline, which is exactly what we have in both instances. So I really like that symmetry. I also know that this week Afria has earnings on Monday. It will move the sector. I do love to see breaks of key pivots and reverses. That being said, the weekly closed below the 20, right? Is this a bear trap, or is this a sign that we're heading back down to here? I mean, really, you could even make a case that the 20 breaking isn't that significant because we've been at it now for 5 to 6 weeks. And from the top, just to give context from a macro view, we are at exactly 2 months out from the top. 2 months out. So in a time perspective, 20 is an important metric. We love the 20 period moving average. It's referenced as mean or home base or whatever you want to call it. For a mean reversion trader, SMA 20 is very important. And from a time perspective, a 20-day, 20-week cycle is very important. And we are wrapping up the second 20-day cycle. And it coincides and aligns with fundamental news that was announced in the form of an acquisition the company just did. And it aligns with what's happening right now with Afria's earnings on Monday and the merger of Afria and Tilray. So there's 2 outcomes to take into play. This ABC completed, and now we can start our final 5th wave up, which I'm looking at as some truncated 5. Come up here, fill the gaps that are left, somewhere between this little area. That is one possible count. And this be your wave 5. We then retrace. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we put in some ABC into November, come back and buy this dip when we tag the blue trend line. Maybe, I'm wrong. Maybe this ABC already completed. That's a wave 2. This is your wave 1, wave 2, and now we're about to take off and head towards $100 over the next 9 months. And marijuana is going to be legal in the United States, and that's going to be the fundamental catalyst. I'm not really sure I buy into that yet. I need to see more evidence. At this point, we are definitely below this trend line, which is not good. This candle is a reversal candle. It is on volume. PPO is heading towards 0. All of these are bad signs. But the monthly chart, PPO is now in the bullish category again for the first time, right? We've got the blue above the red, and we're above the 0 line. So that's kind of an important look. And from here, as long as we stay above $25, the implication is we're going to at least challenge this all-time high one more time. From a moving average standpoint, this blue moving average is SMA 40, 40-month moving average. And as you can see, we've come back. We've been below it since October 29th. We captured it in November, lost it, recaptured, backtest. So this whole general area around $28, $28.50 is very important. If it's lost, I see the downside for bullish entries being down to $25 this week. So if in fact we get some bad earnings or some negative fuel to the fire, we definitely want to be buying down into this range. Now she gives up $25. We could be heading to 19 or 21.20. Fill this gap that was left open from Biden becoming the president. And that would also fit the symmetry here or something like that, Now, I don't think that's the case, but, I think the market's too strong for that outcome at this point. But it's definitely possible. But this entire space will move this week, so it's on my watch list. And whether you're looking for a new entry, whether you bought on Friday at this 2804 break, whether you're waiting for the 200 on the daily, or maybe you're looking at this little 2464 level, there's going to be a chance to get in. If she captures these moving averages here, we have to be looking for, at minimum, something like this, a zigzag up, right? Because at this point, the reason I can be a little bit more bullish is we haven't even retraced 38%, right? And we've been going down for 2 months. We have had a 50% decline. So at some point, this move lower will stop, and you will put in an ABC up that is more than this little ABC that we have here. Okay, that doesn't count, right? That's within the context of this down move, right? If you zoom out, though, we still have context of an up move, all right? And so we've got to make sure, if you're bearish, recognize that this $26 level is a great place to cover, 26 to 25. And if you're bullish, she's just had a 50% haircut. Maybe FRIA earnings will be more bearish news, and that'll push price back down to 22 to 25, which would provide excellent risk reward for a 2022 type trade. I mean, I wouldn't put a lot into it. You size it properly, but it could be a home run trade. Yeah, that really concludes what I had to say about that sector. and what I'm looking to watch this coming week. So to conclude, we're looking at Riot, we're looking at GDX, we're looking at CGC in that entire sector, and those are the top watches for me this week. If you liked the video, hit the like button and subscribe, and come back and check us out. We'll be putting out new videos every week. Thanks.